Hello, welcome to my channel, Part of My Imagination. I'm Imagination and you're the Imaginers. So if this is your first time, my name's Jasmine, and if you're coming back, welcome back. Today I'm going to be doing my March wrap-up. It's kind of late, but better late than never. So the first book that I read in March, I'm looking at my phone because a lot of them I did. If you didn't see my March TBR, I was reading all the books that came in on my Libby app. And yeah, let's just get into it. All right, so the first book that I read in the month of March was The Deep by River Solomon. I give this book 4 stars. I'll put it right here so you can see the cover. This book was pretty much about mermaids or mer people that their ancestors were the ancestors from the slaves that got thrown over the slave ships during the Atlantic slave trade, essentially. This book was really, really good. It was kind of, it's a very short read for one, but it was also kind of like a heavy read. It was really interesting. I honestly probably only give it 4 stars because of the fact that it wasn't longer than I wanted it to be. I really love this book, Princess over at Castle Library. You should go check her channel out. I will have her down in the description. You should check her channel. I always talk about her. She's my best friend. I love her so much. But yes, she read this book and then she was like, oh my god, you just have to read it. It's so good. And yeah, it was a really good book. All right, the next book that I read was American Spy by Lauren Wilkinson. I gave this book 4 stars. This book is about a American spy, African-American woman who becomes a spy for I believe the CIA. And it's not told in letter form, but it is essentially. So she is writing a letter to her twin boys, and she's laying out basically her life and what happened. And it was really, really interesting. The story opens up with someone breaking in and trying to kill her. And then she ends up leaving and going with her mom. And it kind of just goes off from there. And she is in present day enjoying her time with her sons. And also back in like when she was going up through the CIA and things like that. I thought it was really, really interesting. I believe it's in the 1970s. I can't remember, honestly, why, I don't know why I can't remember, but yeah, it's sometime like in that time frame. All right, the next book that I read was An Ember in the Ashes by Saba Tahir. I gave this book 4 out of 5 stars. Honestly, this book was really, really good. I'm so glad that I finally got around to reading it. I did listen to it and follow along on Audible, or audio book off, obviously, for my Libby app. And basically I was way wrong when I gave the description in this, so I'm going to re-give the description. So basically it's about this girl named Layla, and her brother ends up getting taken by these, pretty much assassins, essentially. That's what they are. They soldiers, assassins, or whatever, like the badass of assassins. And he ends up getting taken, and they kill her grandmother and her grandfather. And she just kind of like goes in a frenzy, and she is trying to find a way to get her brother back out of jail. And then it also follows a boy named Ellis, who is the top spy, essentially, of his class. And it just follows their stories and how their story is going to intertwine. And I really, really enjoyed it. I think, honestly, the only reason why I gave it 4 stars is because at times Layla was very, like, annoying. And, all right, the next book that I read was The Great Alone by Kristen Hanna. I gave this book 5 out of 5 stars. I absolutely loved this book. I knew I was going to love it because I loved The Nightingale. I just love the way Kristen Hanna writes. She just, it's just honestly so freaking good. But anyways, this book is about this girl who essentially, her dad is a Vietnam vet, and he has PTSD, and he just doesn't know how to settle down. So they end up moving to Alaska because one of his friends dies and leaves all his land to him. And it just follows a story about her growing up in like pretty much like just imagine like a rinky-dink town, but then imagine a rinky-dink town in Alaska. Like, very interesting. But yes, she ends up, it just follows her growing up from a small age into a older age. Is really good. Like, I really enjoyed it. Trigger warning for abuse. Because like this, the story is just so good. And you guys, if you love The Nightingale, you're going to love The Great Alone. All right, the next book I read was Sabrina and Karina by Callie Fajardo Einstein. I'm so sorry, I butchered that. But this book is a short story collection. I gave this book 4 out of 5 stars. I have nothing but good feelings about when I think about this book and the short stories that were in there. Since it was so long ago, I don't remember all of them, but it is obviously a Spanish-inspired book. I really enjoyed a lot of the stories in it anyways, so you should definitely check this book out. All right, the next book that I read was Cersei by Madeline Miller. I gave this book 4 out of 5 stars. I really freaking enjoyed this book. I can't remember why I didn't give 5 stars. It wasn't a 5-star read for me. More like a 4.5, 4. So basically this book words. It follows the obviously demigoddess, or she's not a demigod, she actually is a goddess, or she's a nymph, whatever that means. Whatever. But yes, so it follows Cersei, and essentially Cersei is like the black sheep of the family, and she falls in love with this mortal and ends up getting deserted on this island. She gets cast out and she has to serve an eternity, which for a goddess or a god, like that's like forever on this island. And you would think that it would be really boring, but like the way Madeline Miller captivates this story and makes Cersei very interesting, and she makes this island interesting, and she, you know, brings characters to life in here. And if you really enjoy Greek mythology, I'm pretty sure you are going to enjoy this as well. It was really good. I definitely recommend it. Okay, so the next book that I read was Not So Pure and Simple by Lamar Giles. I give this book 5 out of 5 stars. I honestly love this book so much. So much. He volunteers for this thing in the church, not realizing that he's volunteering for the pledge of purity, essentially. Like, obviously, not so pure and simple, you know. The title kind of tells you what it's about. But yes, so it was really, really good because this book covers like toxic masculinity. It's very, I won't say it's heavy feminist, but there are parts of it where his sister has a YouTube channel. Hello. Dale as a character doesn't understand as a male where he feels like because he's a nice guy, he's owed this chance to date her and stuff like that. And it just follows that, and it's very, very interesting, and it definitely peels an onion back. So I would definitely check this book out. It was really good. Okay, the next book that I read was The Turn of the Key by Ruth Ware. 5 out of 5 stars. 5 out of 5 stars. This book was phenomenal. Okay, it is a psychological thriller. It is about this girl who, what's her name? Rowan. Her name is Rowan, and she ends up seeing this article in the newspaper about this family in dire need of a nanny, and a stay-at-home nanny at that. And everything about the job is phenomenal. The pay, the house is beautiful, you know. Excuse me. And she doesn't know what could go wrong. Well, basically, it follows Rowan. She is writing a letter to her attorney because she is in jail for the crime of killing one of the children. And that's all I'm going to tell you because it's a psychological thriller. And if I spoil it, then that defeats the purpose of reading the book, right? Like, duh. All right, the next book that I read was Ninth House by Lee Bardugo. I gave this book 4.5 stars out of 5 stars. And I really actually enjoyed this book. I know there was a lot of mixed signals on BookTube about it, or the book community in general, but I really enjoyed this book. It basically follows this girl named Alex, and she ends up getting a second chance in life. And that second chance is going to Yale. Now, she gets picked up because they somehow find out about this ability that she can see ghosts. So one of her mentors, or her mentor, ends up disappearing, and you're kind of like just discovering what's going on, while at the same time there is this girl that ends up dying, and there's more than meets the eye to it, and Alex is the one that is discovering it. And I believe this is a series. I'm very excited to see where Alex goes from here. All right, and the next book that I read was One of Us is Lying by Karen M. McManus. And I gave this book 5 out of 5 stars. I really, really enjoyed it. I've been enjoying all of the thriller books that I've been reading lately, so that's great. But yes, this book opens up hitting the ground running. It is following 5 characters that end up going to detention. And in detention, one of the people ends up dying. And obviously it's following these characters. At first they'd say, okay, well, he died. But based on some of the evidence, they think that one of the 4 other students killed him. All right, the next book I read was The Queen of Nothing by Holly Black. I gave this book 4.5 stars. I don't even know why. I'm in between 4.5 and 5 stars. But right now, currently, it is 4.5. I honestly loved this book. It is the 3rd book in the, the Folk of the Air series. The first book being The Cruel Prince. Yeah, what a way to finish out this series. And I'm telling you what, there were just like things that I didn't see coming. Okay, so many things. And it was so good. It was a very satisfying ending. All right, the next book that I read was Where the Crawdads Sing by Delilah Owens. 5 out of 5 stars. 5 out of 5 stars. This book was honestly so freaking good. And oh my god, the ending. Okay, so basically this book is, it's pretty much like, it's not a thriller, but it's a psychological book. And this book is phenomenal. Like, literally phenomenal. So, what's her name? I gotta look up her name, because like I said, I read these books back in March, so the names of all these characters are kind of, what am I saying? Foggy. They're kind of foggy, but I really did love this book. I do plan on buying it and adding it to my collection because I loved it so much. The story is so good. Trigger warning for rape. Okay, and the next book that I read was Supernova by Marissa Meyer. I give this book 5 out of 5 stars. Spoiler alert, Princess got me this book for my birthday. I am so excited. Like, it just, as you can tell, I didn't even take the spot out yet because I just got this, and it is a birthday gift. My birthday is in April, if you didn't know. So yes, but yes, what a way to end the series. Like, what a way. Okay, it was so good. I just spit a little bit. I'm so sorry. I'm sorry. But yes, okay. If you don't know what this book is about, this book is basically about superheroes and villains and vigilantes. Like, hello? So essentially you get to see 2 perspectives, one being Nova and the other being, what's his name? Why could I not think of his name right now? Oh my god. Adrian. There it is. Yeah. Adrian. So Nova is the villain. Adrian is the superhero. And that's all I'm going to say. But yes, essentially Nova was a young girl who her family ends up dying because the superheroes, or AKA the renegades, didn't come and save them in time. So that is what turned her into a villain. And Adrian is the son of two of the main characters, or not main characters, two of the top not villains, but heroes ever. And plot twist, they're gay. Hello. So if you want some, like, you know, two gay superheroes, like, hello. But yes, obviously his mom was a superhero and he ends up dying, so he is trying to figure out who kills her. And that is how the two clash. And plot twist, Nova decides to go undercover in the Renegades because obviously she is trying to bring the Renegades down. Okay, so the next book that I read was Clean Getaway by Nick Stone. I do not own this because I believe this book just came out like within a couple of months. So I haven't had the chance to pick it up. I believe this is the only book of Nick Stone's that I haven't picked up. But I give this book 4 stars. It was such a cute story. I believe this is a middle grade story, if I remember correctly. Yes, but this was such a cute story. I really enjoyed it. It's basically about this 11-year-old boy who is going on a road trip with his Gma, aka his grandma. And it is just following this story where the grandma is opening up this life, her life, to him, and she's telling him all this stuff about like all these places where she wanted to travel. She wanted to travel when she was younger with her husband, but for unfortunate things happened where she was not able to do that. So she takes her grandson on this road trip with her. It's not really a plot twist, but obviously I'm not going to say it because the book is fairly short. So, but I honestly really enjoyed it. You get to see this relationship between the boy and her grandma and his grandma. And you also get to see it's dealing with like she is white and he is black. And she's telling this story about her and her husband, who was also black. And they grew up in a time where it wasn't okay for blacks and whites to be married. And there's some cute little things in it and some serious things in it as well. And you should just really check this book out. It's really cute, especially if you just need a light, easy read. This is definitely one I would recommend. Okay, and last but definitely not least, I read The Last Magician by Lisa Maxwell. I gave this book 4.5 stars. I honestly really enjoyed this book. It was phenomenal. There were some things in it that I was like, okay, like whatever. And that's why it doesn't have 5 stars, but it was definitely a 4.5 star read, 4-star read for me. And this book basically follows this girl named Esta. And Esta is a musician who can travel through time, essentially, or she can think of a time, and then she can go back to it. There is this organization, we'll say, that is trying to get rid of all the musicians, or I said musicians, I meant magicians. Wow. Okay. But yes, they're trying to get rid of all the people that have natural magic. And she is thrown back into time because she is on a mission to find this book. And she is supposed to get the help from this guy who actually does like magic tricks in like a circus. And it follows a ton of different characters. And I did not see the ending coming, even though this is a series. I believe it's a what is it? It's not a trilogy. I don't think it's a trilogy. But I do know that the second book is already out. And I actually can't wait to get to it. And I'm kind of just rambling, so I'm going to go ahead and put this away. Alright, so bear with me because I have a new outro. So, alright, that's all that I have for you guys today. Be sure to check out my description down below where you can find easy ways to contact me, as well as all the books and channels that I talked about. If you like this video, I hope that you will like, comment, and subscribe. If not, just imagine that you did and come back again. Until next time, keep imagining.